he isn't delaying to frustrate you, but to form you. Do you agree or disagree? Or do you think like he needs to like chill out a bit? Like, I get it. Like, you've been forming me for a while now. Can we like get to it now?
I think you only realize it when you're looking back. You're like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't ready then. In the moment, it's like, are you having a laugh? Like, is this funny to you?
Like, we're always praying to God and saying God's timing, and he's probably looking at us like, bro, I've been waiting for you. Like, you need to be in this position, or you need to be in that, or you need to be in this mind frame, because the blessing is there.
Yeah.
You need to fix up. So sometimes it's actually just us that we're like, oh God, you're taking too long. It's like, bro, it's you. Maybe it's your heart posture. Maybe it's you're still struggling with this, or you're still greed, or you're so much stuff.
It's hard to figure out who needs to move first.
At the end of the day, I think, look, we're all our own person, so we need to take accountability for everything. If something's not working, there's something that we need to do. If we're in the right space and if we're doing everything properly, there's no reason why God won't bless us.
Yeah.
And he's not going to just hold it and dangle it there for the sake of dangling it. So something needs to change, something needs to shift, whether that's a mind frame or a habit or how you see certain things or whatever. That's probably it. Hello. Welcome to the Grow Club podcast, your favorite podcast with your hosts.
With Mike and Jasmine.
Yes, sir. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
We are back. We've had some tumultuous is a great word, isn't it? But I think that's me using the word tumultuous.
What does it mean?
It's a form of hyperbole.
All right, what does both of those things mean?
Tumultuous means drastic.
Okay.
No. What's the word I'm looking for?
Are you sure?
Yeah,
well, if you used a word you don't know.
No, not drastic. Tumultuous means like overwhelming, drastic, disorder.
And what about the blah blah blah?
Hyperbole or hyperbole, as some people who can't pronounce it say. It's a form of exaggeration. So there's 2 new words for you guys if you didn't know. But yeah,
I don't think we need the podcast. I think I've learned enough.
So thank you guys for tuning in today. Just playing. No, but last few weeks let's talk about our scheduling and what we've kind of come to agreement / figuring out
with our schedules.
No, but I mean in terms of the podcast. Because obviously our goal initially was like post every single week, which is still the goal.
Yeah, it's still the goal.
But remember we were talking during the week in terms of like,
we
what
had
was
a
the
little
outcome about that?
Yeah, so Mike and I had a team meeting. So just the 2 of us.
And Chica.
And Chica. Oh, by the way, it's Chica's birthday today.
Chica turns big 5 today.
Yep. So she is currently beside me sleeping, so you won't be able to see her. She might pop up later on.
5 years of being lazy. Well done, Chica.
She's the best.
Yeah, we love Chica.
God bless you, Chica. I love you. Okay, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, schedules. So we have not really missed a week since we started in January, which I think is really good.
You know what? Hats off to us.
Yeah.
Well done.
Considering it's only you and I talking, and we don't live like separate lives either. So that comes with its own like challenges. It's like, okay, well, what do we bring to the table each week to talk about?
Yeah.
At the start, it wasn't really an issue because we have loads of things to talk about. And then naturally, it was getting to a point where we're struggling with, or we're not really getting inspired as much as before. Like, what do we talk about this week? Because we don't want to just put out a podcast for the sake of putting out a podcast. But that's what it was turning into. We were filming because it was our scheduled day. We had to film. Excuse me. And we didn't know exactly what we were going to chat about. And if it went well, great. If it didn't, we'd be like, well, to be fair, like we didn't know what we were going to chat about. Now, I was feeling a lot of the pressure on that.
How come?
Because you were very strict on, okay, we have to be filming every single week. And obviously there was a few times where, I'd be away or if I was sick. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, Mike, but I don't think we can film today. Can we do tomorrow? Yeah. Tomorrow's fine. Mike, I'm still not better. We have to do the day after. Okay. And still when I'm not 100%, I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just do the podcast. And it never turned out to be as good as we wanted it to be. So Mike had a revelation or whatever and attended this, I guess, networking meeting or whatever. What would you call it? It was just like
it was essentially a webinar. with Casey. I don't know his surname,
Okay.
but he runs a
Casey who does podcasts.
Yeah, Casey. Do you know what? Let me type it in. Casey podcast. Yeah, he's like 24s or 24s. The Casey catch up? The AKC. What's his name? Anyway, his name is Casey. He runs like one of the biggest business podcasts in the world. He's the owner of Casey Adams. That's his name. So yeah, his show is like in the top 100 business podcasts in the world. Renowned entrepreneur. He's 24 and he's sold multiple businesses, and yeah, he's absolutely killing
Fair
it.
play.
So I was asking him. I was on a webinar with him, so I was basically asking him like, "Look, we've got this podcast. How do you manage? How do you quality control your podcast whilst also trying to stay consistent? Because not every week." We've missed a few weeks, but that was mainly because, not that we hadn't filmed, we filmed, but the podcast just wasn't up to standard. So we're like, we can't put this out. So I was kind of asking him about that. And he was like, look, in 3-4 years' time, no one's going to know that you missed a week or missed 2 weeks. So I think to hear that was a bit reassuring. And I think, not that we didn't know that, but I needed it kind of framed like that, because it's obviously being in the moment. You're bogged down on like, okay, we said we're going to stick to this goal. And with me and Jasmine, we're like, okay, we can only control what we can control, which is how many times we film or how, showing up consistently. We can't control the number of listeners we get, number of views, number of subscribers. We can't control that. So let's at least control what we can control, which is, being consistent and showing up. So then obviously when we didn't kind of stick to that just due to life and stuff, it's a bit like, oh man, like we've flopped on the one thing we said we wouldn't do. But I think it gave us some perspective in regards to like zooming out and realizing like this is a long-term thing.
Yeah.
And if you miss a week here or there, it's not the end of the world. And it's not a case of like allowing yourself to get complacent, but it's, if it does happen, then give yourself grace and come back stronger, essentially.
Exactly. And I was just so relieved to hear that. When you came in and told me that, I literally gave you a smirk. I was like, this is what I've been trying to tell you. But when it comes from me, I think it just seems like...
I don't think you've mentioned it, though. You haven't been like, hey, Mike, let's... I don't think you mentioned it.
No, I don't think I have, because it's like I know how much it meant to you to do this every week, whereas I wouldn't have minded missing a week, because I don't think it's that deep, because bear in mind, this is a passion project.
Yeah.
This is not something that like we're solely relying on putting every single thing into right now. If it ends up taking off, which it will do, obviously, we'll be happy about that.
Yeah.
But we need to enjoy the journey. True. Otherwise, this is just going to be something that we end up resenting.
Yeah, no, true. I understand. But I'm also on the side of like, if you're going to do something, do it well.
Yeah, but sometimes, like you said, we didn't post certain clips because they weren't well. And you got to remember as well, that clip could be the first...
Wait, when you say clip, do you mean like episodes?
Sorry, episodes, yeah. And you got to remember as well, that episode could be the first impression that someone's getting of us.
Yeah.
And if we're not up to standard, then that's just... Are they going to give us another chance?
True, but I feel like we end up in those positions because of poor planning on our side.
I don't think it's just poor planning, though. I think it's down to there's only so much that we can discuss like every single week when it's just you and me.
Our new strategy was the whole going away and doing actual research.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like, because I don't think it's a good enough excuse to say we can't come up with such talk week on week. It's harder, but it's not impossible because people do it. So I think from our side, like in terms of like taking accountability and stuff, I think we could have planned and researched in advance. So at least, because what we were kind of doing was kind of like rushing topics right before we film. And, we didn't really have enough depth in that. So obviously when we got to the pod and then we're chatting and then it's like, oh yeah, what about you?
I feel very like good about this new plan. I feel like a lot of pressure.
What's the new plan?
That we're giving ourselves grace. If we miss a week, that's fine, because we've got to make sure that we're planning properly to deliver good content. I didn't like it before, where, like I said, I was ill for a couple of days and I really felt the pressure. If we didn't film on that one day, we had to do the next day or my next available day, or just schedule it in a lunch break. Like, I don't like that
Yeah.
at all.
No,
I'd
but it
rather
wasn't
just
that.
not do
I
it.
don't think I was rushing you to film. It was
No,
just a case of
you
like, if we're
personally
gonna,
weren't,
yeah.
but
I was just
I
kind of like,
felt it.
let's plan it so we know when we're doing it. Because I think when we tried to film like last week,
Yeah.
it was like that morning we decided.
Yeah,
Almost,
but
and then
I think I'm more easygoing about it. So I wouldn't, if you were like, okay, you know what, let's just put it off this week, I'd be like, yeah, great.
yeah,
Whereas if I feel like if I said it to you, you'd be like, we need to be posting every week. Like,
yeah.
I'm a lot more
You're
laid back.
making me sound like a strict dictator.
Not a dictator, just strict.
No, I think no. For me, it's just like, okay, cool. If we're not gonna do it, when? Like, I want to put it in the calendar. Like, I put
Yeah.
it there. I don't like leaving things in the air because then that's when things start to slip and stuff like
No,
that.
that's fine. But look, if we miss a week because we just need a bit more time, that's fine.
Cool. So I think on that, because we're kind of on the topic, what is, how do I frame what I'm trying to ask? Where is the balance between being like excellence in terms of like doing what you said you were doing, planning, do you know what I mean? Just being top notch / giving yourself grace. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Because obviously now, for example, the podcast, it's a passion project.
Yeah.
But if we're going to spend time doing it, we might as well do it to our best ability.
Of course.
But then where's the line in terms of like, basically like what we're kind of talking about? How do we determine, do you see what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, kind of. I'll answer it anyway and see if it matches.
What question are you about to answer?
You only asked the one.
Yeah, no, but does it make sense is what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, let me answer and then you tell me if that aligns with your question.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. You can be busy for the sake of being busy, so we can just film for the sake of filming, even though we haven't done the proper due diligence, right? On that subject or whatever. Whereas we can be busy still doing the podcast, but not necessarily filming. So that can be research and so on. So we can still be delivering excellence, even if that's not filming.
Interesting.
Does that align?
Keep going. Yeah, I'm waiting for you. Yeah, keep going.
No, that's it. No, that's it though. That's it. So you can still, you're still giving yourself that grace because you're like, right, you know what? I'm not fit enough. We're not fit enough to film this week, or it's just not going to work out this week. What else can we do that's still
pushing in?
We're still moving forward, but we don't feel like we're getting complacent.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, if you're not fit enough to go to the gym, but you're like, look, let me at least get my steps in.
Yeah. That's very good point.
Yeah.
So in summary, what it is that you're saying is there's always something you can do.
Yeah, even if you're not doing the main thing,
you
don't, because if you force yourself to do the main thing, you're just being busy to be busy to say that you've done it. Like,
folks.
We could have put out that clip that we filmed last week. Podcast that we filmed last week.
I like the fact that the clips are in your mind because it's
done. But it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, and shocking.
Yeah. So that would have been us being busy to be busy, to say we were doing it.
And to uphold the once a week.
Exactly, but it's pointless.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd rather just do something else. What do you think?
Yeah, no.
You agree?
That's literally,
Yeah.
That's literally my point.
Well, then that's our new schedule then, guys. So we're just going to be a little bit more graceful.
Yeah, we're still, not to say we're not posting every week. We are.
Dictator.
No, but let's be frank. It's not to say we're not posting every week because we are. We're sticking to it. But I said at the same time, if we miss a week, it's not the end of the world.
No,
I think that's the point because I didn't. Even with the grace, I don't want to now because giving ourselves grace can easily slither into complacency. Like it's very thin line. I want to say thin, but it's a very thin line. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think keeping the goals and the North Star and the actions we said we're going to do, sticking to that.
Yeah.
But just remember, it's not the end of the world if, like if we miss a week.
Then, don't be bothering us. Sounds like we get bothered.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We did get that one message being like, hey, you guys didn't post. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's nice to hear that people realize we haven't posted because it means that they're like, don't want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we appreciate those.
Are you enjoying the podcast though? Good question. what's your favorite part
That's my
about us podcasting or having a podcast? Or
I think even though we haven't really built a community yet, but I can, for example, on a few of our videos that I've done really well, it's the community aspect, even though we haven't built one yet, but it's like, I can see the potential.
Go on to that.
Just in terms of like, if we have a clip that's done really, really well and we're getting a lot of like support and then we get a lot of follows on that, and just like reoccurring like comments, stuff like that. I like that part of it. I like people liking our content.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice. I thought of like a really deep question there.
Okay.
For no reason.
For no reason.
No, not for no reason, but okay, are you saying that? Because I didn't think you're going to take that angle in terms of like what you enjoy about it. So does that lead into like your character in a sense? Like, do you like people liking stuff that you do? I.e. like validation, external validation.
Yeah, I think most people do. Now,
But
do I? Yeah, it's nice to be noticed in a good way.
Okay.
Like, I don't expect it though. But when it happens, it's like, oh, that's really nice. Like, I don't know how to take it sometimes, like even compliments. Like, I've said this on the podcast before, but this old lady was touching my hair one day. I was like, oh, what beautiful hair you have. I was like, oh, thank you. You've got beautiful hair too. Just like white hair here. She was like, she didn't believe me when I said it, but I actually meant it. But I was like, what do you say when someone compliments you? Because I feel like if I just say thank you, I just think that's, I don't know. I don't think that's enough. I think
you feel like you have to pay them back.
I feel like I have to pay them back, but it's like, what if you have nothing to say?
I think you just have to say it. Yeah. I say thank you.
I like
thank
your...
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
But, yeah, but it's nice getting compliments.
Yeah, I think my what do I like from the pod? I enjoy when we get into like flow state in the pod where like it doesn't seem like we have the cameras here and we're just chatting. They're the times like I really enjoy it because we're like unpacking stuff, but but obviously people get to see that side of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this type of content is very like if someone can sit down and watch like long form content, especially like a podcast, it means they're like invested. So I feel like the content is not feeding people, but like helping people in a way or inspire, like similar to you as well. Actually, now that I'm actually thinking about it, like I have gotten messages of people saying, "Oh yeah, I've seen your like podcast and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know you guys watch." Obviously, we only get like a handful of views, but it's still people.
Yeah,
which I forget. I like the idea of like being able to scale, like spread your message, but at scale. Like we have to sit down and talk once, but the video is just there and he can continue.
Oh yeah, because I even got stopped in town one day.
Yeah, that was mad. Your first celeb moment.
I know. I was just waiting outside the supermarket. Someone goes, "Oh, I like your podcast." I was like, "Huh? Really? Thank you." Like I was like, "This is so bizarre."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, I like Mike's work. He's really good." I was like, "Geez, you."
To this day, we still don't know who that was.
Yeah, no idea. But I was like, "Wow, people like see us."
Yeah,
they know Mike's work. I was like, "Yeah, I know he's good. He is good."
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's funny because I was even saying like when I was introducing myself to that Casey Adams guy, I was saying like we've already kind of started. We only have 200 subs, and obviously he did the whole, man, if you got 200 people in the room, I mean that's a lot of people. So you gotta give yourself some credit.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to fit them in here.
Yeah, do you see what I'm saying? So yeah I think it's nice, like, and I think like similar to you, obviously the community isn't there just yet, but I think that aspect of things
takes a while to build it anyway. Like I think when you know that, it's like, okay, it'll come over time.
Yeah, I think I like sharing like my experiences, and like if that can help people, that's really nice. Because I had a few calls this week of people just kind of like trying to pick my brain or whatever, and I enjoy when they like if they give me feedback in terms of like that was really helpful or you've motivated me, stuff like that. Especially when someone says I've motivated them. I love that.
I love that.
Because I like when people like move and do stuff and take action and like, come on, man. Like I want to like sometimes you want to like shake people like, come on, do this.
Like
wake up.
Hear what I'm saying.
There's work to do. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or even just like changing someone's like mindset in regards to like how they see things or approach things. Because like one of the calls as well I was basically telling the guy, because he's still doing like his 9 to 5, and I can really resonate with him because he hates it right now. And he's someone, he's a bit younger than me, but he sees that there's more to life. Like he wants to do more. And I was basically just saying like, bro, like trust me, like I get it. Like that's even how sorry, I had another thought there. I actually had a few people reach out to me in regards to like similar stuff. Separately, so let me just digress for a bit. Someone was basically asking me like, how did I know when the right time for me to leave my job was? And I was like, it wasn't the right time. Like I shouldn't have, like on paper. But I was just saying how frustrated I was. Like I had to leave. I was so depressed. Like I had to.
Yeah, you did.
And I was telling him like, if you're not at that point in terms of like, you have to, I'd say use your 9 to 5 as your superpower right now, because you have your separate job there. I mean, your business that you're trying to build up, but you still have like a steady income. So use that to fuel what it is that you're building until that's making enough. But obviously, what I did is kind of like, but I struggle to tell people to do the same thing because it's bad advice. Because
it can be seen as reckless.
It was like 100% reckless.
Yeah.
Like no savings, no clients, no nothing. I just left. But it was just more so like the drive I had, and obviously faith in God at the time as well. So even that guy who was asking me when's the right time, I was like, I obviously gave him advice in regards to like practical advice, but I'm like, look, bro, you have to pray about it because each to their own. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, back to the other guy that I was on the phone to in terms of like the whole opening his mind and stuff like that. I was literally just saying that basically like there's a lot of money out here.
Oh, so much.
For everyone.
So much.
And everyone can win. So I was just trying to like, even just like certain amounts of money, certain numbers of money. What's the word I'm looking for? Certain amounts of money. I was trying to say like, sounds like a lot, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can do way more than this.
Yeah.
And just to like plant that idea or thought in his head to like understand like, yo, there's a lot you can do here. So I do understand you hate your job and stuff like that. I get it. But it's not, it's not the be all end all. Just keep on working, keep networking with this person, that person. And at some point, things will pick up. But yeah, that's why, that like for me, selfishly, I just want to motivate people through the pod. But then obviously share my story and our story. And
testimony.
If someone watches the pod, what's one thing you'd want them to leave with? It's a bit broad, but like in terms of like a feeling, what's one feeling you'd want them to leave with? Because mine is just motivating.
Yeah, I want to say that too, but I don't want to be so, I don't want to say the same thing, but I just want them to be fueled and like geared up afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, I know, it's just a different way of saying motivated.
Yeah.
And
why? Like why that specifically?
Because I think that's just based on like the pillars we speak about, or what our podcast is about. I think naturally that's what comes out of the podcast. Like that's hopefully the feeling that people get, because I think we talk a lot about motivational stuff, like it's in terms of business and faith. That's mainly like the two pillars we discuss. And who knows where it'll go down the line if we bring like other pillars into it, but for now anyway, that's been like the core. So with that being said, I think that's naturally what I'd want people to feel from it. I don't know what else I'd expect them to feel from that. I think what we do talk about is motivational.
Yeah. And I think we're like in a good position to kind of do that.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because we're not like Alex Hormozy or Imran Ghazi, or like we're not we're
not educators. Those are big class as educators.
No, but that's not my point. My point is in terms of like levels of success.
Oh, okay.
Like we're not taking private jetting and Ferraris and stuff. Like we're still relatable. And I think that's why we wanted to start the pod early, because a lot of people do build these type of platforms when they've already made it and they're clear. And sometimes they can be out of touch.
100%.
So that's why another thing I wanted us to do is like to start now while we're building our businesses, to actually document the journey. So people can see like where we started and where we've gone to.
You actually watched, I think it was a TikTok video recently, and it was explaining why you need to be out of touch when you're at a different level of success.
See, yeah.
Speak about that, because that was the
I
first
can't remember
time.
TikTok. What was it?
Okay,
You
I'll
talk about it.
start it off and you finish it, because it was
You just go and I'll
okay.
chime in.
It was a video that was basically, this guy was saying, oh, you know, when regular people say, oh yeah, he's so out of touch now, like,
Yeah.
you know, now he's got all this money, like basically he's out of touch.
Yeah.
He was basically saying that you need to be, in order to reach those new levels, you can't be still relating to your older mindset, because then you'd still be in touch and you'd be not reaching those new levels.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining it as well as the video was, so I'm hoping like you remember a bit more from it.
Kind of.
Because it was you that sent it to me.
I know, right? It's funny because sometimes I watch like 3 seconds of a video and I'll just send it and move on. Yeah, I think the whole premise was around the idea of, it's almost like current self versus future self. So I'm going to explain it in a different way, not necessarily how he did it, but current self versus future self. So your current self has the routines already has the people already hangs out with, and the future self that you're trying to get to, maybe that one who has a business that's generating millions of revenue. That person has different habits, has different hobbies, and does things very differently. So for you to get to that place, you have to be that person. So stuff that your current self would be doing, which your current group would still be doing, if you stop doing that type of those type of things, you're almost, you automatically start to like dissociate yourself with the pack, because the pack move in groups and they do the same things.
Yeah.
So now stuff that you're starting to do or starting to see, when you're in like in the mindset of like making millions in a year, stuff like making 10, 20, 30K in a month is not a lot of money, because you're thinking in millions a year.
Yeah.
So when you're saying to someone who's maybe on a salary of like 20, 30 for the whole year, if you start saying, oh, I make that in a month, they're going to look at you like you're far-fetched, or you don't understand what it's like to be, you know what I mean, part of them.
Yeah, or
that's
even
where
spending habits as well.
You see what I'm saying? That's where the whole out of touch comes into. So now if you're making that amount, or you're able to do like certain things, like maybe you don't have a car, but you want a driver just to kind of be more efficient and stuff like that. That's now going to look like, if you're chilling with the current people, you're like, oh, my driver's coming. That's going to look like out of touch.
Oh, he's got a driver.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's going to look out of touch, but it's like,
Can't
because
drive
you're
himself
now
anymore. He's making all this money. He's got out to drive.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? But you're probably seeing it as like leverage, because I think that's one thing you have when you have a lot more cash and a lot more money. You have leverage, and you leverage your time a lot differently. So rather than maybe you driving to this place, that place, maybe it's like a 40-minute journey. You could probably take 2 calls in that time if you have a driver, and you're not thinking about, oh, I need to go. I need to go to the garage to get my fuel changed, might do this, might do that, might stuff. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So now you're leveraging your time different. So there's stuff and little habits that you now have that will seem out of touch to them.
Yeah.
But it's that his point was like, you need to be out of touch. That shows that you are progressing and slowly moving up the ladder. Yeah. So I think I kind of explained it.
You did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting take.
Yeah, it's the first time, because obviously content is like repurposed a lot. So you see a lot of the same content just said by different creators.
Yeah.
That was the first time I've seen that, which was refreshing.
Yeah, it was literally, it was the first time I've taken that type of thing. And it makes sense though, because you want to be doing stuff that not everyone can do. And that's the whole point of like building the life that we're trying to build in terms of our businesses and stuff. Like we want to do things and take full advantage of life. And the issue is, or the problem is, that the majority of people don't do that. So when you're now like taking life by the reins and taking accountability for your life, saying, I want this, I want to do that, and now starting to do these things, when you start doing it, you're like the outcast. You're the one that's out of touch.
Yeah.
Even though like we're all the same and we also, you know what I mean?
All bleed the same.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, no, that was a good video. That was a good video.
Yeah,
But
it
anyway,
was.
I wanted to touch on just some topics or some talk. So I think yeah, this is where like our faith pillar comes in. So people are into like God and Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
someone commented saying, "Oh, I followed for the Irish accent, but stayed because you guys snuck."
Sneaked?
Sneaked.
No, snuck is a word.
Snuck.
Yeah. No, snuck.
Snuck.
You're saying snook. No, wait.
Basically, apparently, we snuck Christian content into the
SNUCK.
no. Oh.
That's not a word.
Snuck.
Yeah, it's SNUCK, Jasmine.
Okay.
Snook.
Snook. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so someone commented saying, "Oh, I started watching because of, the Irish accent type of thing." There was a guy who said that, by the way, not a woman.
It was definitely, it was a woman.
It was a guy.
It was a woman.
It was a guy.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was a woman.
It was a guy. I checked.
Did two people say it?
No.
It could be both these days, to be fair.
But I stayed because y'all, included Christian content or whatever.
Why is a guy falling for an Irish accent?
It was. I'll prove it.
Prove it.
Right now.
Well, yeah. While I talk to the people. So, guys, while Jasmine is trying to find this, you guys please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions or things you guys want us to talk about, please let us know. And yeah, I just hope you guys are having a good week, a motivated week. And yeah, share the podcast with friends, families. Make sure you rate it, comment, like, and share. How are we getting on? How are you going to find it?
We shared it to our story. So I'm going through my archives, yeah. Or archive.
Oh, is it Instagram? I don't think we shared this to the story.
No, I think we did, Or okay. It was you on your story.
No, I wouldn't have put it on my mic, Aka.
Okay, well then I'm pretty sure.
It'd been the Grow Club. Pass it. I followed because host is Irish and y'all sneak Christian content in over time, and now I'm glad I followed. Keep up the good work.
See?
Is it a guy?
Yeah.
King Creole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Told you.
Why do you think it was a girl?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, yeah, we did sneak it in. Now you're here.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, thank you, King Creole. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so question is, and then I've got a few points. So I think I want us to kind of like deep dive and go through it. Mm-hmm. Just like what's the word? Yeah, just like a deep dive into, So it's not a crazy topic, but the question is, and I'll get your thoughts, and then we'll kind of go through some points I have here. So, how do you balance patience and trusting God's timing? And in your answer, I want you to relate it to your experience. And if you can give real life examples, that's even better.
Oh, mon Dieu. Ask it again.
How do you balance patience and trusting God's timing? If you can relate it to personal experiences, even better.
Often when people pray.
Ooh, great intro. Love that.
It's not uncommon that you feel a sense of peace and that what you initially prayed about is no longer burdening you. You no longer feel the weight as much. It's like the weight has been lifted off your shoulders. It's very similar to that. So when you're impatient or rushing for something, for example, you and I have been trying to get to a certain level for a while now. Feels like a while. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a long time. But for us, it feels like a long time. Mm-hmm. And so it can be really difficult, especially when, comparison creeps in. Mm-hmm. And you're like, how are these people who are younger than me, not as smart as me, doing this and I'm still doing this? Like, what am I missing? Mm-hmm. And it can be very demotivating and immobilizing sometimes. Like, what am I doing wrong? And then you can be getting impatient. But once you decide to just give it to God and be like, you know what, I actually don't want to deal with this anymore. So I'm actually going to relieve the responsibility off of me and give it to you. Thank you very much. I actually feel a lot better. So it's not my problem anymore. When it comes, it comes. It's like, even actually, really interestingly that you mentioned this, because I went on a coffee date with my friend recently. She's also Christian. And she referenced this scripture, Habakkuk. Is it Habakkuk? Right? Never heard of this book before, right? Ever. So I was like, you have to write this down for me. I can't spell that. I was like, Habba what?
Yeah.
And the piece of scripture was basically at the anointed time, so at the right time, you will experience the vision that God's given you. I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially that's what the scripture says.
Mm-hmm.
So Habakkuk 2 verse 3. And I was, how have I never seen this before? Because this is literally what everyone has been creating manifestation books on. This piece of scripture alone is what these manifestation books are based on. It's basically write down what your goal is, what your vision is that God's given you, and don't worry about it. It will come at the right time.
I've got it here. Can I read it?
Yeah, read it.
So Habakkuk 2:3, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay.
Exactly.
So what it says, ChatGPT gives some spiel here. So the vision awaits its appointed time. God has a specific time for his promises and plans to unfold. It might not match your timeline, but it's not random. It's appointed. The next line, it hastens to the end. It will not lie. God's word is trustworthy. If he gave you a vision, a purpose, or a promise, it's not a lie. It's not a fantasy. It's in motion, even if it's unseen. And there's some other bits. But yeah, sorry, continue.
So yeah, interestingly, I studied that the other day. So it relates to your question.
Yeah. So
yeah, just basically once you decide to just not worry about it, it sounds really simple, but you just don't anymore. So like, I know it's going to happen at some point because I have the vision.
So you almost try and you're not even patient anymore. You've just like removed patience almost.
Yeah, it's not
even like a balancing act for you. It's just like that. I'm not.
Yeah, and obviously there comes like times where I could be like really stressed one day because my job has given me a lot of stress and so on. I'm like, I need to be doing more than this. Like, not more jobs, but more like I need to be freer than this. This is like, I'm shackled. Like, I need to be free.
Yeah.
And this is too much for me. And
so in those moments, what's your go-to? Like, how
I just let myself feel it, but it's like, you just got to remember, well, it's not going to be fixed right now, and I'm feeling what I'm feeling right now. So it's like there's nothing that can be done right now.
Yeah.
So I just let myself feel it, know that, okay, well, I can be upset about it, but in this moment, it's not going to be fixed anyway. So just try and enjoy the journey and try and even like make the best out of the situation.
Yeah. Okay. So it's something the nuts I have here, right? So in response to how do you balance patience and trusting God's timing? So the first answer, or one of the first ways of doing it is understand that patience isn't passive. So I was going to ask you, in that you're saying, yeah, I'm trusting God, I'll leave it to him. How do you ensure that you don't become complacent?
That's really tough. I think
if you're trusting God, what is it? Is there still stuff that you need to be doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to balance that at the moment because I'm trying to figure out, am I just being so patient or am I being a bit complacent? Like, how do I do both? How do I be active but still be patient? So yeah, that's something I'm still trying to figure out. I think that you should take over this one because I feel like you're a bit more active.
Yeah. So here I have got like patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means staying faithful in what you can do and staying sensitive or soft-hearted while you wait for what only God can do. So my thing is, if you can control it and actually physically do stuff, you have to keep chipping away at that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like when you see the outcome that you're wishing for, that's more so in God, because it says faith without works is dead. So you need to, you need to actually actively be working on stuff. So I get the whole trusting God and allowing Him, but trusting God and God's time and etc. But in terms of having faith in Him, but it's you need to be moving the needle. Like you need to be going out in the field and doing what it is that you need to be doing, and then just pray. So I think maybe like an analogy would be so actually, do you know what? It's similar to when Jesus was with the disciples and they were going out fishing. I think it was Peter. Could be wrong. Probably yeah. They went out fishing, and it was a case of they're casting their nets out. There's no fish. There's no fish. There's no fish.
Yeah, it was Simon Peter.
Yeah, exactly. And then, do you know the story a bit better than me? Because you run through
No,
it.
you tell it.
No, but you know it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
where
you run through it,
okay, so they were fishing.
Yeah.
Let me know if I'm on the right it's the right story here.
Yeah.
They were fishing. They weren't able to. It was Peter and his either brother or cousin. I can't remember which one. Andrew, I think. And they were fishing, and nothing was coming up. They've been having a really like dry season almost. Like
Yeah.
they weren't able to find any fish, nothing. And then Jesus comes along because he chose to preach there. And there was a few people that were listening and so on. So he goes over to Peter and he's like, "Can I deliver my sermon on your boat? Like stand on your boat so I'm on like a pedestal almost, so people can see me and hear me."
Yeah.
He delivers his sermon and so on, and Peter's like, "Oh, get a load of this guy."
Get a load of this guy.
And he goes to Peter, cast or drop your net, and he's like, "Why? Like, there's been no fish." And I can't remember the exact words that were used, but he was like, "Just do it," basically.
Yeah.
And there was so much fish that they had to fill up. They filled up 2 boats worth. And then Jesus was like, "Follow me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's in a sense an analogy in that sense, because for example, so jeez, my words are getting all over the place. In that instance, there were fishing, nothing came until one point where when God ordained it, the fish came.
Yeah.
So if they'd stopped going out fishing, or if they didn't listen to God and be like, "Look, I'm not doing this anymore. How can He now show Himself? Because you've stopped." So that's what I mean. Like we need to continuously do what it is that we need to do. And I always go back to this to when Moses was in front of the sea, just before he parted it. God asked Moses to stretch his hands out, and then God parted the sea. And why I find that like so interesting is because God doesn't need Moses to stretch his hands out for him to now part the sea. But sometimes God will ask you to do an act of faith or an act of obedience so He can show Himself. So that's why, going back to this as well, like patience isn't passive. Like you need to continuously be doing what it is that you want to do and take control of what you can do, and then allow, when the patience comes in is where you're allowing God to do what He can do. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if he got fish the first time around, going back to Peter, he would just think, "Oh, yay, great, we got fish now." But it was only until Jesus came and was like, "No, now you can." And he was like, "Oh, this is all you."
Yeah.
Because I've been trying.
Yeah.
I'm coming up dry.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes God will do it in a way where He gets the glory for it as well. So He may, not to say He may delay it, but He wants you to know, or wants everyone to know, that was me that did that. And that's why He'll now be able, Simon Peter will now be able to like, wow, it's really Him. He did this for me, etc.
Yeah.
And then, so next one is, the next answer to it is, let God's character anchor you. So I think this is more scripture based. So when the timeline feels shaky, you have to fall back on who God is. So when you feel like, okay, this isn't working, what's going on? You need to remind yourself of who God actually is. So He is not slow, He is intentional. 2 Peter 3:9. So everything He does is for a specific reason.
Okay.
There's no there's nothing in the scripture that's just there for the sake of being there. There's nothing He's done just for the sake of it. Everything has a specific purpose. He is not distant. He is near to the brokenhearted, which is Psalm 34:18. So he's not like all the way in heaven ignoring you. He's there with you in this period. For example, like when Jesus again went during the storm, God was like asleep, but he was still like very much so present. He's still there with you in the storm.
Yeah.
Did you get me?
Yeah.
And then he isn't delaying to frustrate you, but to form you. How do you feel about that line? Do you agree or disagree? Or do you think like he needs to like chill out a bit? Like I get it. Like you've been forming me for a while now. Can we like get to it now?
I think you only realize it when you're looking back. You're like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't ready then. In the moment, it's like, are you having a laugh? Like, is this funny to you?
Yeah, I think that kind of reminds me as well. Like I've been saying recently as well that like God is probably waiting for us.
Yeah.
Like we're always praying to God and saying God's timing, and he's probably looking at us like, bro, I've been waiting for you. Like you need to be in this position, or you need to be in that, or you need to be in this mind frame because the blessing is there.
Yeah.
You need to fix up. So sometimes it's actually just us that we're like, oh God, you're taking tonight. It's like, bro, it's you. Maybe it's your heart posture. Maybe it's you're still struggling with this, or you're so greed, or you're
but it's hard.
There's so much stuff.
It's hard to figure out who needs to move first.
But that's why I think you should always. It's always. At the end of the day, I think look, we're all our own person, so we need to take accountability for everything. If something's not working, there's something that we need to do.
Yeah.
Because if we're in the right space and if we're doing everything properly, there's no reason why God won't bless us.
Yeah.
And he's not going to just hold it and dangle it there for the sake of dangling it there. So something needs to change, something needs to shift, whether that's a mind frame or a habit or how you see certain things or whatever.
Yeah,
that's probably it.
I think the easiest way to think about it is like a parent and a child. So you're not going to give the child something that they're not quite ready for. But you're like, but trust me, when you are old enough or when you've done this,
yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, like you have my word, like you will get it.
Yeah, you're just not ready for it yet.
Yeah, so I think the best way to think about it is a parent and a child.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy actually. Yeah. Number 3, so how do you balance patience and trust in God's timing? Train your eyes to see progress, not just results.
Ooh, yeah, that can be tough. Especially when you're reaching new levels and you're not seeing your old progress as current progress because you're reaching new levels. You're like, yeah, but it's still not enough because look at what these guys are doing. So that progress is nothing. So it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... How am I trying to describe this?
Because even like it was like New Year's last year. Well, the one that's just recent. It's like, what have I achieved? You're like, what are you talking about so much? I'm like, I don't feel like I have. You're like, because you're constantly like trying to level up. So like what you have achieved is not enough for you in terms of who you want to be.
I think that's the issue though. Yeah, exactly. So people look at the end points, the finishing time, rather than like how. Okay, for example, like if you're doing a marathon, you do a marathon 1 year, you get like, let's just say 2 hours. But on average, I don't even know what the proper times are. But anyway, let's just say you get like, you do a marathon like 3 hours, right? Yeah. 1 year. And then the next year you get 250. So 2 hours, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you're seeing everyone else is getting 2 hours. But instead of looking at the final times, why don't you look at the 10-minute difference that you've achieved? So I think that's kind of what it's kind of speaking about there. Like, see the actual progress you made. Don't look at the time. Because, for example, someone who's gotten 2 hours, they may have only improved the year after by like a minute. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's the progress you need to look at and not the actual finishing time.
Yeah.
So even within that, we may not be doing the quote unquote numbers that we're trying to do, but in terms of like the actual progress from last year to this year, we've made leaps and bounds, especially as like people or in business, etc. So that's one thing. Another thing to look at. So yes, it says like look for small shifts, open doors, inner grow. So that's kind of what I was on about. There's inner grow. Yeah, journal or reflect weekly. That's something you're gonna start doing.
Yeah,
Journaling
something
and
I
stuff.
want to start doing. It's quite difficult for me to just write things down though, because I'm
Yeah.
like,
What's the benefit of journal? Because I don't do it either. Like, why are you
yeah,
gonna be journaling for?
it just gets everything out of your head. But this is
Mm.
what, like, obviously what I've heard and what, I've done it like once or twice. But some people just love journaling. I'm like, "Ugh, waste of time." Like, I thought it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
But I want to start doing it because it's just another way of God communicating with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
So just see what happens. But it's a good way to get your thoughts out and see what comes to mind when you're in the presence of God as well, and thinking about things. What comes out on paper.
Yeah, I think it's good that you said they're like getting it out of your head, because I think you seen it on paper, you'll be able to realize like, oh, I've actually made this progress and God's actually done this here, because do you know what I'm saying? Because even like on a day to day, I'm also telling you to like write stuff down in
Yeah,
terms of
but I
like,
keep everything in my head, and that's why I can feel so overwhelmed sometimes.
yeah, and that's why you forget a lot of stuff too.
Nah.
Yeah, you need to because at the end of the day, it's like even for me, I think it's not ego is not the word, but like I think I can remember everything as well, but I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Let me free up my brain for. I was about to say pause. Let me free up my mind. Let me free up my mind for like other stuff, more important stuff. Like I don't need to try and remember every
Yeah.
single thing I need to do in the day.
Yeah.
Let me just put it on my calendar and I put it on my task list, and then I'll just show up and do what it is I need to do.
Yeah. True.
Another thing is talk to God honestly. So God isn't offended by your questions. He's honored when you bring them to him. Because someone in Psalm, I don't have it here, basically said, "How long, Lord?" And then a few verses after, basically saying, "But I trust in your unfailing love." So we may feel
Psalms.
like we can't question God.
Psalms was written by David, or is it multiple?
Good question.
It was David.
You can chat GBT it there.
What psalm is it?
13. Yeah, and then see who was speaking there. But yeah, I think some of us find
David.
it on what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, we can be like, "Yo, God, what's happening here?" At the end of the day, who else are we gonna go and vent to?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's still having that faith there, like trusting He will still pull through. But I don't think there's any issue with being like, "God, like this is what I'm struggling with. Help me deal with it, etc." And hopefully, you can and will hear back from Him in that sense.
Yeah, it just reminds me. We watched that guy Taylor on
Taylor Welch.
Yeah, what's the podcast called?
The Deep End.
Yeah, and he's literally going on about his conversations with God all the time. He'll be like, "Yeah, I was just in the car, and I'm like, no, God, I don't want to do that." And he was like, I was having an argument with him, and people are like, "Why'd you argue with God? That's so like unholy." He's like, "I don't care. My God knows me. He's a father. Like, I'm going to argue with him. I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, I think he really like leans into the relationship side of like with God, and I think that's how everyone should.
Oh, he does.
Do
he doesn't even like class himself as a Christian. To be honest, he's like, "Oh, I'm not like those guys."
Yeah,
I'm like
the religious guys.
Yeah. He's like, it's a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the last point is, how do you balance patience and trusting God's time? And trusting God's timing is wait with God, not just for God. So remembering that like His plans for us are greater than the plans we have. So it's better to just kind of be on His side and be like, okay, look, and we're gonna wait for this together, rather than waiting for Him to do stuff. So you're not just counting the days until a breakthrough. You're invited to walk with Him in the waiting. That's often where your character is refined, your faith is stretched, and your roots grow deep. Sometimes God is more interested in who you're becoming than what you're waiting for. Because I think the beauty in all of this chasing success and stuff like that is actually who you become in the process. Because to have those things that you want to have, you need to be a certain person or a certain type of person. So I think getting to those stages and then reflecting back on like who you were at the start of the journey and like, wow, I'm now this person who runs this business that's doing this amount of revenue. I think that's the goal. Not necessarily like I'm making this amount of money. It's like I'm now a person who makes that money.
for this purpose.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of like the notes I had here in regards to that. Did you want to touch on anything else in regards to that, or?
No, I think we covered that subject pretty well. Yeah, I like the points that you had.
What's your main takeaway then?
On
just in general, just patience and God and God's timing.
To be honest, I think I covered it in the first initial question. Just give it all to Him. Just let Him have the responsibility. But in the meantime, well, not in the meantime, but while you're doing that, also be actioning those points as well to get you to where you want to be. But just know you can't do it alone. But you gotta do something.
Facts.
But yeah, no, I think we covered a pretty good amount.
So guys, you guys also let us know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Let us know if you have extra points you'd like to share. Comment section is there. So if you listen on Apple Music, please rate, share. Spotify, same again. YouTube, same again. And we could probably wish Chica a happy birthday again.
Yeah, she's just staring at you.
Happy birthday, Cheeks.
Happy birthday, Chica.
Happy birthday to you.
Staring me out.
Happy. And I'm the one singing. Can you imagine? All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. See you guys next week. Have a blessed time.
See ya.
Peace, loves you in a bit. Peace.
Bye.